Hi, I'm George Farmer, here today with Jeremy Gay from Aqua.
All right, George.
How you doing, mate?
Good, thank you.
Today we're going to talk about Aquaforest salts.
Salts, yes.
I didn't realise there's three.
Another one of my favourite subjects. So yeah, salts. So 3 aquarium salts from Aquaforest: sea salt, reef salt and probiotic salt. So I'm here to talk about the differences, which one you'd need for your tank.
Yeah.
And in this case, more expensive isn't necessarily better, depending on the demands of your tank
Situation. Okay.
So you've got 3 different salts
Yep.
at kind of 3 different price brackets, but they're aimed at 3 different types of tank. So basically, you've got the first one, which is a sea salt. Now the sea salt, it's got everything it needs to have, but it doesn't have like elevated kind of mineral levels or anything like that, because this is aimed at fish only tanks,
Okay.
public aquariums, shark tanks, you know, tanks that don't contain corals, fish systems in shops, because you don't need to overpay for salt, because generally in a fish system you run your salinity lower anyway.
Okay.
And there's kind of anecdotal kind of evidence, certainly with us, that says that if you use a really rich reef salt in a fish tank, the only thing that's going to use all those lovely minerals and elements is algae.
Oh, I see.
So it's just a very, very good value kind of stripped down sea salt. Still got everything in it.
Can it be used for soft corals?
Yeah, it could do, but this moves me on to the next thing.
Okay.
So if you've got soft corals, LPS corals and SPS corals, or a mixed reef, which is 90% of reefers around the world run mixed reefs, we've got reef salt. So reef salt has got all the elements necessary for coral growth. In fact, it's got some nice kind of simple icons on the front there as well.
Yeah.
LPS, SPS, clams, soft corals and fish. So this is if you've got any kind of reef tank at all with corals in it, I would go for reef salt.
Okay.
And then the kind of cream of the crop is a probiotic reef salt. So exactly the same salt and chemical parameters are in reef salt and probiotic, but probiotic importantly incorporates this really powerful nitrate and phosphate reducing bacteria.
Oh.
So it's quite unique. So this one is recommended for SPS tanks. You know, Aqua, the really kind of ones that Aquaforest is famous for, the really colourful, ultra low nutrient tanks.
So you probably wouldn't want to use something like that in just a soft coral or an LPS.
Exactly.
It needs a bit more nutrients, I guess.
Well, that's it. And I've learnt by using these salts since we became distributor of Aquaforest. It's not the most expensive isn't necessarily the best for you. So that's the most expensive salt, and you'd say, well, that's more expensive than that one. It must be better.
Yeah, that's not.
It's different. It's different. It's so powerful, the probiotics in that if you've already got low nutrients, low nitrate and phosphate, you don't need it.
Okay.
And some corals, like soft corals, LPS corals, as we know, they like a bit of food, like a few nutrients.
Okay.
The whole Aquaforest philosophy is to run at natural seawater levels.
Yep.
So we're not talking really high KH of 9 or 12. We're talking a KH of 7 or 8, 34 parts per thousand salinity.
So it's trying to replicate the ocean.
Yeah, exactly, and that makes kind of boiling easier as well, because boiling you're just kind of topping up. You want to start off with natural seawater levels, and then boiling is there to
keep it consistent, I guess.
Exactly, kind of kind of maintain.
Yeah, because as the coral's using stuff, it needs topping up, and that's what the boiling does.
And so you want natural seawater levels. If you take an elevated salt with like a really high, parameter, like KH or calcium, for example, then suddenly one day you don't need to do boiling because it's gone too high from your water change. Whereas the Aquaforest philosophy is very much kind of keep it natural seawater. So 3 different sizes: 5 kilogram, which are these, 10 kilogram, and 22 kilogram in each. Icp tested, importantly.
Yeah.
This is everywhere now. I'm always talking about it, but the marine hobby is always talking about it.
There is a video on Icp testing, in fact 2 videos.
Yeah, and so they use their kind of ICP OES machine to test the batches as they mix the salts. This is synthetic salt, not evaporative salt.
Yeah.
So this is kind of lab.
Sort of pharmaceutical grade.
Exactly, and then mixed up in large quantities, and they measure the first bucket that they produce out of each batch, the middle bucket, and the last bucket.
Wow. So I have heard of stories about settling? Like
Yeah,
different things settle at different levels, different minerals?
So this can happen with all salt. So I mean, in a perfect world, we'd all use very small batch quantities of salt, because the larger the batch quantity gets, the more it can kind of settle out, especially in transport or in storage. So yeah, we recommend always, you know, give it a shake or tip it or rotate it, do what you can. Don't kind of just dig it out from one place. But as I say, the ICP doesn't lie, and you know it's consistent to the batch quantities that are stated when they made that batch. So fear not.
Great. Thanks, Jeremy.